Well, wizards, welcome back. And today I got an exciting one for you. I think you know what it is because you clicked on the title of this video. And because I'm wearing it, we got an all new carrier from Agilite. And I kind of teased this a little bit at the end of the Reaper Rig video, but Agilite really took all the input from the community and within the app from all of you and linked it all together from like the Reaper Rig and from the SubZero to put everything into like one super final form. It's like gold Frieza. If you know who that is, then you're friend worthy. And that battle ready carrier we'll be taking a look at today is the all new Agilite K-Zero SF. I'm really not joking. I can be pretty hyperbolic, sometimes a little bit dramatic, but this thing is crazy. And I think we can really attribute it to Agilite listening to all of you. So if you haven't already snagged it, download the app off the Play Store and join in on all the development. And then if you do that though, it's also your fault, like you're partially responsible when all the neckbeards come in here and cry about us, but even making this video, which they will, but from the feedback of, different professional teams or just regular everyday users who bought it and used it, you can see where Agilite listened to that feedback and made something pretty ridiculous and definitely crazy. I'll show you all, but first, do some sponsor love. Today's video is sponsored in part by Nocturn Industries. Nocturn takes night vision to the next level with their all-new ruggedized Talon monocular. The Talon has a swappable battery cap for any power source, along with on-off and IR illuminator controls on a single knob. Plus, the single Talon monocular can be upgraded into the dual nod Raptor system. So from the new user to the operational professional, Nocturn Industries has you covered. I'm doing my very best to try to get you guys some cool Raptor and Talon content, but there's unfortunately some YouTubers that are apparently cooler than me. So I'm working on it and hopefully it'll be soon. But as always, you can use discount code TLDco over on the Nocturn website to save a whole bunch. All right, now let's do some biases. And I asked you guys about this and you said you want it to stay. You just want it to be shorter. So let's see what I can do. First off, it's Agilite. So I'm super biased. I love the products they put out and the people behind the scenes. Agilite did send us this carrier for review, and I really do feel like Agilite has cracked the code when it comes to continually innovating products by utilizing the actual community and people like you to make good stuff. It's crazy. What else? It's thanks to our Patreon supporters we can say and do whatever we want. Contracts are extra stupid, and I hate those things, and a bunch of YouTubers have them. Don't listen to me or any other YouTuber. Nobody is doing this for free, so that should make you ask some pretty hard questions. So do your own research so you can be the most educated consumer possible. Okay, that was fast-ish. I think I put some extra in there I could take out. Anyway, I'll work on it, but let's get started and get this new Agilite K-Zero SF on the bench. Show you where all the crazy starts. Starting with the front bag as always, sneaking a peek at the shoulder straps, we see they're angled outward nicely so they don't just cut into your neck. If your plate carrier, like one you have or looking to buy, has straight shoulder straps, well I hope you never ever, like even in the future, plan on going to the gym because they absolutely suck if you have any sort of physique. Now, if you also saw there's a QD on one side, this is the first change from the original K-Zero, and it's removable, swappable, whatever you want. For my configuration, and I kind of show it as we go through it, I swapped this QD from the left side to the right side because I'm a lefty. I really wanted to show you some of the functionality and using it, but in reality, I wouldn't need something like this. So after this video and probably in future content, you're probably going to see this removed because I don't really need it. But here, Agilite does what Agilite does, where you can decide how you want to run it. Instead of making an even worse version of a product that's currently on the market and giving it a single-digit IQ name like Thing 3, that thing definitely sucks. We'll swap bits when we get to the straps, but right off the bat, we see another addition from the K19 side of things with the front zipper pocket. Oh, well, also inside of here, I didn't notice this, you'll also find all your cable management bits you can add in to configure the carrier for your exact setup. The pocket is a bit smaller than the K19, but it'll still fit a Right in the Rain notebook or a mini plate carrier koozie, which is probably a lot more important than that stupid notebook. For the zipper functionality here, I know it's kind of hard to see, your plates are actually going to come into play as to how functional this is going to be. If you have some low profile plates like these Agilite protector plates, they work really, really well. but some super thick plates or some single curve, you're gonna have a really hard time using this. But how I have it set up, it works great. I forgot I had this in here still. Moving down the main bag though, we have a standard loopback MOLLE field we've grown to love, where you can add in whatever ID patches or gear you may want. Along the side are also our vertical MOLLE slots, so we can add in quasm buckles or PTTs, for example. Underneath, we see the signature V stitching that works in bringing the center of gravity higher, so all the weight isn't dangling at the bottom of the bag. One thing I'm really excited about that I'll show you in just a moment is they brought back one of my favorite features that makes that signature V work even better also. You're gonna love it. You've probably been waiting for it. I'll set us up by adding in the battle shell from our previous K-Zero, along with hooking in a basic PTT setup in one of these side slots. Since I'm gonna be using G-hooks for a sleeker setup for our placard, I can use up one of these slots. Below, we see our loop field for our placard to connect into, but they also added in full MOLLE along the bottom, so you can still connect in legacy MOLLE pouches instead of doing the newer placard configurations. Do I recommend doing that? No, not really. Is it cool that they gave you the option? Sure, the placards are just so much more versatile and there's so many different options from so many different companies, but the option is there for you to decide how to run it, and I think that's what it's all about. Along the side of the front bag, we see some upgrades where we have a slew of different connection points for the Cummerbund. You see a slot where you can connect in the 2 included Cummerbund QDs, or you can use the 1 included hook and loop tab to have a semi-permanent connection. Or, check this out, you can use the Tegris tab underneath to make a little more permanent connection directly into the bag and the Cummerbund. It may seem silly, but I always sidecar my carriers and leave one side with the QD and the other side hooked in. So by tying the Cummerbund directly into the carrier, I love how I can set it up perfectly for my preferred configuration. And you don't have to do this. You could do 2 QDs, you could do 1 QD and one side hook and loop, or just lock one side in, one side hook and loop. Whatever it is you want to do, I think that's the magic of it all. You set up how you like it. And this is how I like it. I will say that installing the QDs is a bit of a pain, so I'd recommend doing this once and not make some weirdo configuration where you take these on and off regularly because you're going to want to punch yourself. On the side of the carrier, we see the same cable management slots from the K-Zero, making it easy to route cables and other items with the included goodies. Moving to the bottom, we see a large plate bag opening so you can fit a wide array of plates in here. Again, I'm using the Agilite protector plates for this setup, but you can easily use thicker plates like the RMA 1165s too. Now, inside the bag is a return of one of my favorite features with the plate bag straps that helps to lock the plates in place and pull that center of gravity upward. It's so hard to explain, but it just works so well, where it pulls that whole weight of the plates and everything up higher on your chest, so you feel it more up here instead of this like dangly weight down at the bottom that just frustrates the hell out of you. I think it's a little bit hard to capture on camera, but now inside, instead of having 2 straps, there's only 1, but it comes in that same V structure. So it's the V at the top and then the 1 strap to tie it all in and just mimics the front. It's so awesome. Moving to the rear of the front bag, we see some sweeping changes. Almost all of the previous mesh is gone, besides this small area in the center. You have this nice padded area along the side and a more heavy-duty material along the bottom, where it's more likely to wear or rub on other bits of your gear. Now, let's add in our front placard with our G-hooks and our 6-pack dangler so we can finish out this front setup. Moving to the rear bag, the first change I immediately see is this new rear drag handle sewn in underneath that signature V. So now the K-Zero SF has that drag handle functionality directly built in. Now, I'm a bit low on friends who want to let me just drag them around the yard, but just from testing this, the whole thing seemed pretty robust and definitely wasn't going anywhere when I started throwing this around. And a whole lot of the carrier would have to fail before this actual drag handle would fail. But you can still hook in your MOLLE packs or attach your AMAP 3 with the rear MOLLE and loop like normal, with the same enclosed hook and loop cummerbund portion along the bottom. The bag opening is the same as the front, large enough to fit Sappy Medium or Sappy Large, and the same internal strap to lock it all up. The back of the rear bag also mimics the front with the changes with the new low-profile padding and reinforced fabric. Here, we'll round out this rear bag by hooking in our rear hanger so we can add a bit more of our mission-specific gear later. Now, just from a front bag and a rear bag standpoint, things are pretty insane, and we haven't even gotten to the crazy stuff yet. And one of the main complaints a lot of people had was that the reinforced Warfighter Cummerbund should be included when you purchase because it's just that good. And I agree with all of you, so check this out. The SF now includes this micro Warfighter Cummerbund. Here we have 2 bands of Tegris instead of 3 on the Warfighter, but still that Tegris has that reinforced structure with the stretch portion now a little further forward. The front tab on the Micro Warfighter also has that same smart design to let you swap out QDs or whatever attachment you want I showed you earlier. And the rear Cummerbund steals from the SubZero to give you a quick adjustment where you don't have to move and adjust the main tabs, you just move these little sliders in here. The greatest part is as your size changes, you actually gain additional MOLLE slots also. I think that's really smart, and it shows like a forward thinking when you're putting the product together, where as your size changes, you actually gain some functionality instead of the product just being kind of locked into being what it is. Let's finish out this Micro Warfighter setup by adding in some Agilite side plate bags for a more robust setup, along with a bull tack knife along the front. All right, so the Micro Warfighter is awesome, and I got one last bit to show you. I gotta sort out how to tackle this because there's like a million things going on here with the shoulder straps. We'll just start at the back because it's easier. Here we have our same attachment tabs as the K-Zero and the K-19 to add in the AMAP 3 to give yourself an easy way to add in a rear bag. The shoulder straps themselves now mimic more of the Reaper rig design with a pad that can be removed instead of being integrated into the actual design. So again, it's all about how you want to run it. You could take these shoulder pads off and have a more covert setup like you could wear under a jacket or something, or you could put these shoulder pads in, have a bit of a more overt design, but have it be more comfortable over a long distance. So it really depends on what you're doing. You can adapt the carrier into that mission set. And maybe some smart person out there can even figure out how to adapt in a chest rig instead of these, these goobers that are out there trying to just dangle it over their plate carrier. I don't get that, and it sucks. The shoulder pad is that same thin padded material as on the plate bags. It's nice and wide, so you're spreading the weight and distributing it over a larger surface area. I think it's funny sometimes, like when you learn how a plate carrier should be put together, you look at some other plate carriers and you're like, hey, retired Army guy who put 1 inch or 1.5 inch straps there. Guess how I know you didn't go to physics class? And there's always some follow-up like Instagram post. Our carrier does great with the load. It's baffling. All right, I gotta get back to it. Moving down, we see the shoulder QD design that uses this strap connected into the male end. You can take this off and swap it like I said. I want it on the other side, so I removed the strap, fed the shoulder strap end back in, which is also how you set up to run with no shoulder QD. Then unfeed the other shoulder strap and attach the QD bottom portion into the plate bag strap. Then I hooked in the other side of the QD into the shoulder strap and you lock it all down. It's super easy. When you first look at it, you're probably gonna go, what the hell is going on here? Just unfeed the shoulder strap and then it starts to become a lot more apparent as what you gotta do. Or just watch that footage of me doing it over and over again. I promise, you got this. The last bit on the shoulder strap is the sizing markings that remain unchanged, so it's easy to size up both sides without the guessing game. Okay, but that's it. That's the whole carrier, and good Lord, there is a ton going on here from a customization and utilization standpoint. Like you can do whatever the heck you want. So let's get into some tests. Let's do the first one. This one sometimes makes me super mad, but not today. The Cummerbund and shoulder strap adjustment. Starting with the shoulder straps, the initial adjustment is easy because you can just size up the front and set it all up. Running without the pad means you could make the shoulder strap adjustments on the fly, but with the design of how the strap connects into the front bag, well, that means you'd likely take this off to adjust here, and that's certainly the case when you add in the extra layers with the shoulder pads and the QD. Now, the Cummerbund adjustment is a treat. You just leave the main tabs connected, and slide the cummerbund in or out to adjust. Again, you'd likely need a buddy to take this off in order to change it. The Micro Warfighter cummerbund has that expansion that's actually built into it too, so it removes some of that need to have a micro adjustment up front under the placard. So you have a lot of extra room to breathe and to adjust if you put on a coat or just change what you're wearing and still want to use the carrier in your size configuration. Overall though, good size adjustment. I mean, it's not the brain rot, that's that bungee lashing that the Army won't seem to get rid of. That's the stupidest garbage ever, and I'll say that to anybody I've ever met. Now though, let's see if my wife, we can suck her in for this next test to help us out, and let's do the size adjustment range. Here, like the original K-Zero, I have a huge range of adjustment, so I can get it perfectly sized to me and fitted like it should be. But then use the exact same setup and get it sized down for my wife's more petite frame for a good fit on her also. I will say I didn't have quite as much size adjustment due to the Micro Warfighter cummerbund. There's just too much Tegris there, where the old style you had a lot of adjustment with the pull tabs and things like that. So if you have a much smaller frame, you may not want to do the setup I have here where I have one side locked in and one side in the QD. You may want to have one side as a hook and loop or some other custom configuration where you can tighten this up just a little bit more. It's just one small thing I did notice in our testing. All right, now let's go to the next test of plate insertion and size. Here we can see the Agilite learned from the K19, and the opening is perfectly sized for a ton of different size plates. With the strap inside to secure your plate, you have a large range of different plates that'll work perfectly. Agilite said sappy mediums and sappy large should fit just fine, so unlike that god-awful 511 Tac Tech, the K-Zero SF can actually fit some of the most popular plate sizes and do it very, very well. And because somebody's going to ask, yes, your 10 by 12s are going to fit fine too. I just want you to be aware that 10 by 12 is like a random size apparently because it's just a commercial standard. So 10 by 12 can sometimes mean 9 by 13. It sometimes can mean 10 by 13. There's just not a standard size of 10 by 12. And that sentence should hurt your brain. I'm trying to think about it so don't get any dumber. All right, the next test is available colorways. Agilite keeps on keeping on with their standard colors of multicam, black, and Ranger green. You do see them do some rarer colors in some of their giveaways, like their special giveaways and on their Instagram page, but those are the main basic colors. So if you want a more rarer color like Alpine or something like that, it will be a lot harder to get a hold of. All right, let's look at the next test where the K-Zero SF just absolutely kills it. Expansion. I don't know if you can even get bonus points, but what the hell, man? You can add in and customize whatever you want. With a rear pack attachment, full molly on the front and rear, a Tegris reinforced cummerbund included, removable shoulder pads, you decide how nuts or how slick you want to go, and the sky is the limit. The K-Zero SF also has a design integrated in to support the weight as you scale up also. So when you add in a ton of weight and you go all crazy with it, you have an actual system that can support that setup. Like kind of like the jokes I was saying earlier. You can't scale up a carrier. You can't just say that like, oh, our carrier scales up great. No, if you don't have a system underneath to support that weight, it doesn't scale up well. Quit fooling everyone. Don't say that. All right, let me get back from that rant. The expansion of the K-Zero SF is just bonkers, and you have this whole family of products that all integrate in to do really, really smart stuff, if I can get a hold of it here, and have all kinds of different functionality and set it up with whatever you want to do. All right, though, next test is the donning and doffing test. It does well. Here, I had no issues at all and had it set up in my preferred sidecar configuration so I could just slide one arm in and connect the QD. Like I keep saying, though, you can set up any way you want, add in more QDs, but I like how I could make it mine. No issues here, and I really did like having that first spear style of QD to make it all easy. Now though, let's go into the next test that can sometimes be a little bit tricky for some carriers with the rifle cheek weld test. Here I was really impressed. The shoulder strap angle and new pad left a perfectly sized pocket for the stock, meaning I could use my standard position without having to place the stock on the strap of my carrier, making it far easier to know where the rifle was in space. You could also place it on the strap if you had to, or that's how the carrier rode on your body without any issues. I'll just suggest that you do some pull-ups so you can get this weird back shoulder hump thing. All right, though, we got one more test, and that's the prone comfort test. In this test, the first thing I noticed is how much less bulk there was than the K-19, but also a lot less compared to other carriers. This made laying prone easy, and the front pads added in that small channel of airflow to help keep me cool. The pads were large enough also where they didn't jab into my chest, but you could tell they were there, so it may be a little bit of personal preference as to whether or not you like those or not. But that's all the tests, and man, this was quite the review because every time I looked at a piece, I'm like, oh, wow, look at this new thing this can do too. So I guess we just need to do my final thoughts and rankings. The Agilite K-Zero SF just nails everything. You can see the power of the community to make smarter shoulder pads, smarter cummerbund attachments, and the return of my favorite with the inner plate bag strap. Having all these improvements with a Tegris reinforced cummerbund included is just Agilite showing the rest of the players how the game is played. And the Agilite K-Zero SF easily earns an S+ rating. I'll even throw in a coveted TLD, holy crap guys, trophy. Yeah, I know. I'm super biased, but good Lord, I even tried to come up with some cons, and the only one I could think of was like, I wish that my cummerbund could connect into my placard. I think that's all I could come up with. So I'm nothing but impressed. This thing is crazy, and you can use discount code TLDco over on the Agilite website, if they're not all sold out, to save a bunch on this if you want to pick one up. I'm sure Agilite is also going to have even more craziness coming up with SHOT Show in the future, so I'll keep you posted on all of that. But I hope this video on the Agilite K-Zero SF was useful in your purchasing decisions. And I would say thanks to all of our YouTube and Patreon members. You make it possible we can test all this gear and come back and show you some of the new craziness on the market and let you know which ones you should definitely be grabbing. And I would say thanks to everyone that likes, comments, and subscribes. Comment down below. I almost messed that up. Comment down below what carrier you think could actually beat this. I'll go grab it. We'll put them side by side and we'll test it out. Maybe we'll do like a Christmas thing. All right. You guys have a good one. Watch out. You just put the little baby plate carrier inside of your plate carrier so you have an emergency plate carrier if you need it. Where did I get this? Oh, I don't remember. Somewhere on like AliExpress, I think. It's nothing fancy. It's just a plate carrier beer koozie. All right. I hope the cicadas weren't god-awful loud. I'm hoping I found some weird editing magic where you don't even notice that they're there, because I waited like 2 days to record this video because they were so bad, and they started the moment I started recording. So yeah, we'll see. Okay, I gotta go. It's pretty nice out. I gotta go take care of stuff. All right. Bye, guys.